Greetings, hello, welcome everyone, welcome to DevChatter. If you are new here, my name is Brendan, and I am the host of the DevChatter live stream, and I want to welcome all of you to the stream, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. I hope that you are having a fantastic Tuesday, or I guess it could be Wednesday if you're far enough east of me. But either way, welcome to the stream. Hopefully you are having a good week so far. I noticed chat freaking out, like 2 days in a row. As you know, Pudding, because you are someone that watched the stream long enough ago, this is the old schedule that we're back on, and Mondays and Tuesdays are 2 days in a row. Hey, Kevin, welcome. Thank you very much for the lurk. And hi, Mr. Shoji. Hi, Pudding. Welcome. Welcome to the stream, anyone. And anyone that's lurking in the background, imagine that I said hi to you, but since you're lurking in the background and haven't said anything, I assume you do not want me to call you out, so I won't. We are going to be doing some coding here today, as is our thing on this channel. But before we jump into that, I have a couple of things that I want to make sure that I call out. First off, if you are not in our Discord, which is, you don't know what Discord is, it's a chat program, commonly used by Twitch streamers, and also for teams working on collaborative projects. There are a number of them that use Discord for that type of communication. Rotten Benson, welcome. Welcome to the stream. And I will toss links to our GitHub, our YouTube, and Twitter as well. Regarding our YouTube channel, it both has the archives of our past episodes of the stream, as well as some of the other stuff that we do here, including our DevChatter Basics series, which is where I cover foundational programming topics. So keep an eye out for those things, and if you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, you'll just get notifications when they go up there. If you already watched the live stream, for example, you might just skip that episode and just wait for the next episode. It's a good way of knowing if you missed an episode also, because if you are subscribed to it, then you just get notifications about those as well. Okay, so what are we working on? Let's talk about some of our projects here. So for the past couple of episodes, among our discussions, we have also been working on a new fireworks animation that we are building as a chat command. So chat could type in, say, !mark fireworks, and it would go ahead and, make fireworks display on the screen. So far, what we have built is the JavaScript side of it. We did it in a separate Scratch project with just some throwaway stuff. And then we're going to take this and move it over into our main project. And in order to make that happen, let's go ahead and show you what it does. Now, instead of being triggered by a fireworks command given by a user, it is going to be triggered by me clicking my mouse on the canvas. So once I get that running, I am going to load a... I'm going to load this page here, and look, every time I click, these little fireworks things come up. So if I click a whole bunch of times, it sends up a whole bunch of fireworks. Now, obviously, we needed to make a couple of changes here. We want to make sure that we adjust what type of firework we have. So right now, we just have a diamond formation. We're going to want to make rings and other things like that as well, but that can come after the fact. For now, I want to get it wired up so that chat is actually the one that triggers this. And I also kind of want to make it so that a single command, so if you type in if you type in !fireworks, it should send off 5 or 10 of them, not, a single click worth, where right now I have a click send out, I think 6 of them. We're going to change that so that more end up coming out. I'm going to guess Villa. Welcome, Villa. Thank you for that follow. Much appreciated. And good morning, Todd. I also notice that you've got that you are one of the lucky people who got an upgrade to your subscriber badge, because you are one of the 2-month, and I just went in yesterday and added in the new badges because Twitch had made it so I was allowed to have a 2-month badge some time ago, and so I adjusted it so 2-month badge is a thing, 3-month badge is a thing, and so I basically just shifted them all down so everybody got an upgrade. So some of us, like me, obviously, now have our new Golden Grenadon sub badge. Yes, exactly. Yes. Brain, absolutely. I too remember when JavaScript on web pages was used for ridiculous things like that, as well as like you move your cursor around and like text floats around behind it. Oh man. Have I mentioned that the internet of the web of the 90s was amazing, and if you missed out on that time period, oh man, did you miss some of the best stuff on the internet. I have no idea why no one uses that anymore on their websites. It was really something. I agree, Mr. Mr. Shoji. Hey, Simon, welcome. And Sean, greetings. Welcome to the stream, everyone. So we're going to wire this up so that chat can cause this to just happen whenever, because why not? It's way more fun when you let chat do interesting things. Oh, no, well, the significance of those construction animations isn't that they were annoying, it's that they were permanent. It's that that the website was always under construction. You put that on there, that's never going away. That is never going away. Greetings, Renee. Yes, some of the best stuff, exactly. And welcome back to the stream, by the way. Glad to see a lot of people here. Okay, so this obviously works because we can make that little animation happen. So cool. Let's take this code. We're gonna yank it out of here, and we're gonna go move it over. Roland, greetings, welcome, and Mobabo, hey, welcome back. So yes, exactly, Roland. The streams are back. What was I going for? Yeah, so the streams are back to a fairly normal schedule. Hopefully for a while, but we'll see how long. I've got a reduced load client-wise, so that's nice. I had been previously it wasn't that I was full-time, it's that I was like way overbooked on time. So when you work like a 60-hour week to get all the stuff done for all of your clients, you don't have time to stream. So the problems of being independent is every once in a while you can get yourself into that kind of mess, because it's tough because you can't. It's hard to not take work from your clients when they have it, because sometimes they won't, and then you have to find new ones. So it's one of the messes of being independent is like you'll go like, oh yeah, way too much work, and oh, okay, I'm done. All right, well, okay, I'm back. Yes, Kevin knows exactly what I'm talking about. It is that terrible balance. And yes, Mobabo's correct. I'm only referring to good clients. There are bad clients that I tell people to get rid of. Then I'm like, no, you don't even want to work with them. I have passed clients to handed off clients to friends of mine before and said, the good thing about them is that they pay their bills. The bad thing about them is you won't want to work with them. So, if you want to work with them, great. But it's one of those, I don't recommend you work with them long term, as you will not be happy. So that kind of thing comes up. Okay, so we need to steal some of this code. Basically, my plan is just to cut this out of this program and put it in the other one. Yes, exactly. Mr. I could stream or I could make tons of cash. Yeah, so Kevin is correct. It is hard to make the decision to stream instead of doing work that someone is going to pay you to do. Developers get paid a lot more than Twitch streamers, to say the least. That being said, I have done a lot of streaming in times when I could have taken paid work. but I had other paid work. So it's one of those, like, I've got enough that I'm not worried about it, but you can't do that forever because otherwise your finances will get messed up by that. And Mr. Shoji, your comment is absolutely correct. If you are going to pass, one of those not fun to work with clients to someone, you should let them know in advance that it's not a fun client, because some people really don't want to work with them, and you don't want, your friend to have to find out the hard way that it's a difficult client, because that's never fun. Coated Beard, good evening, welcome. If 1,000 of us bought subs, then we get more. Kevin is actually correct. If 1,000 people went and bought subs every month, I would absolutely stream a lot more. That is completely true. But that's the challenge. Is even on that, like, when you compare the amount of hours, even with like literally 1,000 people subscribing, it's still like, okay, that's like, for developers, that's still not actually all that much money. You couldn't make that a full-time job with just 1,000 subs compared to a developer salary, at least not in the US. There might be, I'm sure there are places in the world where the cost of living is low enough that you could get away with that, but even where I am, in a lower cost of living place, that would be quite a challenge. I know some developers that are in like the really expensive places where I just see their rent and I'm like, you're paying twice as much money and you have like half the space I do? What? How's that possible? How do you live? Okay, so let's jump into some code. So we have, as usual, our bot is actually the bot that is running and debugging in Visual Studio right now. So that's actually the chat bot in our chat room right now, which is always fun. That it's like, no, I like deving on the actual branch that we're building. That's the fun of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the bot, so it'll be off for a bit. So sorry about that, everyone. And I want to pull in this new stuff. So let's make a folder of fireworks inside of JS, and I'm gonna open this up in File Explorer, and I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Literally all I'm gonna do is take everything in this folder and copy it into the other folder, so I'm not even gonna bother pulling it onto the view for all of you, so don't worry about it. If you can't guess how I copy and paste in Windows Explorer, well, then I'll be kind of shocked. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so yes, always a good idea to just do it live. I really want to quote the video "we'll do it live" thing, but I try to keep the stream a little PG, so I can't actually, it's like, beep it, we'll do it live. Yeah, that's how I can say it. Okay, so I do not need to do an event listener on this, but I do need to set up fireworks. So we're going to steal this code and put it inside of here. It's not in the do fireworks, it's inside of here somewhere. Animation canvas init. Animations init. There we go. So I don't need that. Does it get its own canvas? Does it get its own canvas? Fireworks canvas. I think I'm going to give it its own canvas. That might be a mistake. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, so we're going to create a fireworks canvas. Oh wait, canvases. I have it set up to like define multiple canvases in my database. Is that really how I did it? Did I really do this? Let's see. T-Lot, I'm guessing is how you say that. First off, welcome to the stream. Second, to answer your question of why am I not... So is there any reason why I'm not using TypeScript? Yes, there are a handful of reasons. So first off, I do sometimes use TypeScript for work. We use TypeScript on one of the projects I'm working on with a client right now. Oh, yes. Yes, exactly. Past me decided not to use TypeScript for a variety of reasons. We could use TypeScript. I decided not to. One of the big reasons why is the fact that if we use TypeScript, we are really limited to only people that are interested in using TypeScript. There are a lot of JavaScript purists out there that would rather not use TypeScript. One of the other things that I like about doing Vanilla.js, and specifically we do a lot of Vanilla.js where we're not using one of the big major frameworks, so we often will not use jQuery on this channel, and we will often not use a big framework. There are exceptions to that. So we did a project one time where we did Vue, for example, and obviously that is one of those big frameworks, and we did it for that project. But generally, we try to do most things with Vanilla.js with the thought being, if you understand how to do it in vanilla, you can learn how to do it with jQuery, or you can go grab React, or maybe you're stuck in knockout land. Maybe I don't know what. Maybe people are still doing like Backbone. I don't know what you're still on, but if we do vanilla JavaScript, it applies broadly to everyone, and anyone can understand it. If we are doing TypeScript, for example, then it is much more likely that, for example, someone is going to be on Angular. That being said, obviously you can use TypeScript with Vue or anything else too, right? Because at the end of the day, the TypeScript's just JavaScript. But that's really the main idea, is just that we didn't. So we have yet to do a TypeScript project on here, but it's on the list of, yes, at some point we'll do it. So it will be done similarly to how we do our Vue project. So we will do a project sometime where we use TypeScript. And that would be like because we want to do it at some point. And then that gives a great opportunity for people to see it. But yeah, this project is just a Vanilla.js project. So, but I'm glad you asked the question. It is a good one. There's no reason, nothing against it. And funny thing being here that I said we don't usually use jQuery, but we sometimes do include jQuery. I forget why that's on there. ASP.NET Core, I think, might have just included it by default, and I kept it. I don't remember. So I defined the canvases like that. I'm kind of shocked, but assuming I did. Canvas properties. Yep, I did. Okay. In that case, so it looks like the way I created it is, because I figured I was going to have a bunch of canvases on here and different people might use different modules, I actually made this data-driven. So I'm just going to create a GUID real fast. And yes, I say GUID. If you don't say GUID, man, you're wasting all that extra time saying whatever it is you're saying instead of GUID. Fireworks canvas. 1920 by 1080. That's so hard to remember. Okay. So in here, it's fireworks canvas. Let me do that. We connect it to that. And then down here inside of our do fireworks, I need to jump over to here, and this is what we call inside of do fireworks. Maybe it's actually Do we have a way to... Do I have a sleep? I do. You know what? I'm just going to do this. And I'm even going to do it old-timey. Is that the... Okay, there we go. 10 fireworks. And if you didn't notice, normally the way that I do GUID, you say GUID, that's a GUID. GUID, one syllable. Let's get in discussions of how to pronounce things. This is going to go well. Great stream. No, the... One of the things that you'll find that I do is when I'm doing JavaScript, I'm usually over in VS Code, and when I'm doing C#, I'm usually in Visual Studio. That is because Visual Studio is fantastic at doing C# code. It has a lot of amazing features, as well as the other productivity tools that you can add into Visual Studio. So I run ReSharper, but I've run CodeRush before, and both of those are fantastic tools for being able to do good C# code. And I also recommend that if you, like, in JavaScript, I think VS is somewhat lacking, which is one of the reasons why I'll use VS Code for that. I do not want it to be every 4 seconds that we do this. How about every half second it fires off another set of fireworks? So it's going to do it 60 times a second. So really the smallest loop that I can do for when it renders it is, we could do 60 a second is the absolute most that we could shove in there. This is actually going to give us, if we're going to do it 10 times, it's going to give us 60 fireworks, and we're going to trigger them at this pace. So that's not bad, I don't think. Okay, let me catch up on chat. TypeScript also opens, you open to the new world of things that can go wrong. Yes, exactly. Yep, Kevin is 100% correct there. So it is a different set of challenges that you're going to run into, which is why I want to use, at least for the most part on a regular streams, JavaScript, and we'll touch TypeScript sometimes because it is valuable to learn those kinds of things, the other issues that you can run into. So there is value in using TypeScript there also. And one of the other reasons why we're specifically working on a vanilla JS piece here is that I have been stuck in the back end for a little while, and I want to refresh and remove the cobwebs and the rust on JavaScript. So that's part of the reason as well. GUID, no fun unless it's a bit yeah. Maybe I remember it wrong, but it was so people could configure where to show parts. Oh, yes, Renee, you're correct. That is why. Yep. Wow. Renee, that is a heck of a memory. I am impressed. Yes. Well, that's my favorite one is when people do this. But they type that into chat, so you'll have to look over there if you're watching this without chat to see what I just said. But when people write that one, they always get a laugh out of me because, you know, that is pronounced that. People who say, and it's because you just wrote it, like, no one has any idea which one you were actually saying. It's like, it's the best way to do it. And we'll just pretend that I said, you know, some pronunciation and took any stance on that debate. Except I didn't. At least not right here. And yeah, see, Kevin disagrees. He thinks it's the exact opposite of whatever it was I just said, which I don't remember whether or not he and I agree on that or not. I think we might, actually. Yes, Coated Beard, our last stream did end with a bit of discussion about that. That's why you don't start it up again. Okay, so that runs that. Did I bring in all the stuff? Fireworks, that, and that? Okay. So I need to do this, I think? Hang on. Do not copy? Oh, yeah, no, this is not I was thinking this was I was thinking this was another thing. This is not done that way. Okay, so that's do fireworks. I need to go to the overlay page and include the fireworks stuff so that it will work. And since I didn't modularize it yet, I have to put it in like this. I kind of wish I'd modularized it, but I did not. So I get that. And then these do that. Okay. Let's restart the bot and see what happens. Fingers crossed. The bot should say hello. And hang on one second. Let me make sure that my overlay has refreshed. Okay, that should have refreshed our overlay. Just to make sure that it. Nope, didn't work. But we'll take a look at it all the same. So we're going to go grab the overlay that's here and run this one. So that's this overlay, DevChatter bot overlay, which is at that URL. Because if we do this, then we can actually... Okay. Why isn't it starting up over here? Unexpected reserved word. Whoops. Line 95 of the JS. Oh, yep, nope, that's on me. Do I put it's async function? Okay. Where is that? Okay, so that's that. Okay, so we're gonna do this. I'm gonna change the way I did this. So we're not gonna do fireworks that way. So we're gonna do it like this. Fireworks is just gonna do that. What does add fireworks do? Did I forget about... Oh, I think I needed to do one extra thing. Hang on. Add fireworks, but I forgot to do this. So let me adjust that to 9. And we'll sleep before we trigger the first one. And that should work. I think so. Well, let's try it. All right. Age-old fireworks. How long do you wait before going back to... Yes. Simon, you are absolutely correct. With real-world fireworks, if they don't trigger right away, you don't necessarily want to go and check to see what the state of things is right away. Ah, there we go. Okay. That's fine. I'm okay with an error. Oh, canvas is not defined. That's true. Canvas is not defined. Right here, this was supposed to be fireworks canvas. Derp. Alright, let's try it again. Fireworks. Canvas, what? Line 95. Did I write it again? Oh, yes, of course. It's right there, too. Derp. Get both of them, Brendan. Did someone say that? Tell me someone said that. Oh, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, Fuel Snable, this was a Twitch bot stream 2.5 years ago, and you wouldn't have called it another one back then, because there were not many Twitch bot streams back when we did our Twitch bot stream. You know, there are a lot more of those now. Hey, there we go. Now the question is, can we get it to happen on our main one if I restart this? Hang on. There we go. Back up. Didn't refresh. Let me, like, force refresh this thing. How do I force it to refresh? Refresh. There we go. Yes, exactly. Kevin is correct. That was one of the stances that I had about like Twitch bots and that sort of thing at the beginning, which is that it very much is like, if you're going to do a Twitch stream where you're writing code, you at least want to use a Twitch bot that you can script. Because it is fun to do custom stuff for your stream on your stream. I think that's a neat thing. So if you're not going to do your own totally custom bot, at least grab one that you are going to work on. I don't think you need to build your own bot, Renee, but grab one that you could at least script. So you could grab the Streamlabs chatbot and write custom stuff for it using Python. We've done a couple of streams about that on here. I did a couple of like just one-off episodes where we built. I've done 2 of those episodes where we entirely built a custom like script with an interface for configuring the custom script in the back end for Streamlabs chatbot. So anybody that does that, you can just go in Python and create one of these custom things, and it's actually not bad. So they have a pretty nice extensibility in that. What's really needed is a single bot project, open source with extendable framework, so everyone is contributing to the same effort. Yeah, Simon, that's what I was originally hoping to be able to start with mine, but we never really got into that. And there were some customizations on mine, and I figured, like as more people picked it up, we would start extracting some of that stuff, but didn't end up happening. And then, as more streamers came on that were coders, everybody just built their own. And so we don't have that one. That being said, if there were a collaborative project like that, I would gladly pull some of the fun stuff that we have on mine into a collaboration one. Exactly, Simon. The challenge is we'd have to pick what kind of bot we wanted it to be. And by what kind, I mean not just the feature set, but you'd want to make it extensible so people could choose which things they wanted to have. And additionally, we'd have to figure out, do we want this to be... So C# is definitely common, but I think a lot of people would like it to be JavaScript, for example, because that crosses into more people. The only reason I say C# is common is because there is a heavy presence of C# among the live coders. There's a heavy presence of JavaScript generally also. So it wouldn't really matter to me. I would choose one of those two, but who knows. Fuel Snable, I don't know. I think you could get a good number of the live coders using the same bot. The Twitch app escapes placing an emote. I don't know what you're talking about, Renee. The Twitch app. Oh, the Twitch app does some weird stuff with emotes, like the actual like Twitch chat stuff does some weird things. But either way, congratulations everyone! You now have a fireworks command that I believe anyone can trigger. I don't think I've got any limits on it, but that does fireworks now when you do that. That's true, Simon. If we did just do 2 collaborative efforts, one in JavaScript, one in C#, that would actually be pretty good. So maybe we start a live coders bot and take the stuff that we like out of our bot and start putting it over there, and start a new bot. I don't know if because I don't want to say like, yeah, we're gonna take our bot, because that just seems kind of, I don't know, not nice. To just say, yeah, like, mine is the right one. But I could see starting a new one. and Renee, you can put whatever you want after the word fireworks. It ignores any arguments after that. It's not looking at them. But this, I think, is a problem. Because I don't know if you noticed, but I think I multi-trigger the animation and don't stop, so if people can spam that, the fireworks really go crazy. But I don't really mind. There's a small bug there because I don't prevent the animation loop from starting again, so what ends up happening is it runs the same effect multiple times per loop, which is going to make each firework happen faster. If I wanted to avoid that, what I would have to do is essentially queue up the firework animations and just say one plays after the other. But I don't care, and I also think it's kind of fun that chat can make it go super fast if they spam in fireworks. That being said, only the mods can spam in that fast in chat. I think, well, no, because anybody else could pass whatever else they wanted after that. So yeah, I guess someone in chat could. Yeah, why not? I'm not worried about it anyway. It's fun. Simon, I agree. And I'm looking forward to the TwitchLib rewrite that Lucky's been working on, because existing TwitchLib, I love it because it exists and provides a library for communicating with Twitch. However, it definitely leaves some things to be desired. Okay, let's go ahead and commit this stuff. So what do we have in here? That doesn't matter, but I'll commit it anyway. We have our SignalR bits to be able to tell the front end that we want to do that. That is... Do I need that? I don't think I actually need that, but I also don't care. We added in the particles, the fireworks. That is just... It adjusted the spacing. I guess it added additional spacing. Did I want it to do that? No, but I don't... yes, actually I did. No, that's correct. That's the spacing I wanted. Our fireworks.js still has those on the top, so I'm going to get rid of that before I commit. Because while I do want to make those modules, I did not make them into modules yet. So I am going to remove that include from the top. There's the fireworks, there's the particle. I like that particle ended up being fairly small. And our changes to this, we added in that canvas and added in the basic fireworks stuff. Okay, not bad. That'll do. Adding in fireworks command. Yes, the fireworks are ready in time for November 5th. Simon, that is correct. Fireworks. Yay! You know what? I'm actually wondering about something now that I look at this. I think I've got an issue I need to fix. Need a bonfire, yes. There you go. Continue. If continue. Why does this not like that? Is it because that has meaning here? Keep going. We'll call it then. Keep going. I was hoping out of context of the loop it would let me get away with that, but it will not. It will not. That's fine. You win. So let's change render. Fireworks, render, return. So return fireworks length greater than 0. I think that's what we were missing. We're about to find out. All right, I'm going to refresh the cache on that current page. Okay. So now... Okay, so that has been sped up a bunch. So that's going super fast. And it's slow again. Okay, good. Have some fireworks, everyone. Lots of fireworks on the stream. I guess we could give a number. It's an interesting thought. Is a thought. Okay, limit the quest animation frames stop requesting animation after fireworks done. That's what we did. I got the right word. 1 billion, yes. Well, I thought about it, and then I realized that if I did that, then you have to go down the whole rabbit hole of limiting how many any given user can request, because you would not want a regular user to show up and put in 1 billion, for example, and then it just runs fireworks for an hour. That would be a bit excessive. In fact, I don't think it... Well, would it be done in an hour? I don't know. I guess it depends. Triggering the next one every some number of milliseconds. Yes, no one would do that, Simon. No one at all. Definitely not Twitch chat. Twitch chat never trolls streamers. No. Absolutely not. Why would Twitch chat do such a thing? That's not fun. That's not nice. Twitch chat's so friendly. Okay. So yay, that's in place. I'm happy with that. We got our C# piece working. We got our JavaScript piece working. Excellent. Let's so we need to do a couple of things. So I want to adjust what we create. Chatosaurus goes extinct due to a billion fireworks going off at once. Yeah. Nakey Supra. What? Nakey Supra, weren't you here yesterday? I thought you were here yesterday. Or somewhere. I either ran into you here or in someone else's chat recently. Either way, welcome back. Glad to see you're here. Welcome to the stream. Yes. This is actually streaming 2 days in a row, which is impressive. Okay. So oh yeah. I think you did. I think you said hi, Nakey Supra, but that was probably about it. But either way, welcome. Glad you're here. Yes, exactly, Renee. I started streaming more regularly again. My schedule has allowed it. If you missed the beginning of the stream, I explained that a little bit, but which you could check out on our video, because all these episodes are recorded. That's awesome. So what I'm thinking about doing is this. So we got our fireworks set up. It creates one. This makes the diamond pattern right here, which is what we defaulted this one to. We just said, okay, make the diamond pattern, cool. And you know what? Now that we're over there, why don't I switch VS Code to looking at our other project? I'm going to have VS Code open that. So it's going to work on the same project as that one. So I'm going to hop over into the chatbot project source. But I'm just going to go straight into the web root project, because we're just doing the JavaScript over in VS Code, not anything else. So one of the neat things is, because VS Code can open up, because it just works with like folders, it's not, I don't have to work at the level of, let me run a project, let me run a solution from the .NET like conceptual world. I can open up just the root project. Now I'm not going to be able to go do the HTML work, because that view is not in. I did not make it a static HTML page. If I had, then I would be able to go and do that. But since we didn't in this project, I don't have access to it here. So the HTML will have to be in another project if I do anything with that specifically. But I don't think I will, because I think we're just going to work in JavaScript canvases, which means I can get away with just being in this folder. That being said, if I hop over here, I think this is... No, it was inside of the firework on the diamond that Visual Studio was complaining. Ah! I do that all the time because that's the keyboard shortcut in Visual Studio to be able to multi-line select. So, cool trick. If you don't know that VS Code can do this, this is a multi-line select. At this point, someone's going, Brendan, I already know about a multi-line select. But did you know about this? If you hit end, it jumps to the end, but look at where the cursors are. The cursor on each line has shifted so that it is at the end of the line. So the cursors are no longer lined up at the end. So if you look, I can add the semicolon to every single one of those lines at the same time without having to do the single line select, because you can pick all the points and, oh no, I messed up and I didn't get this one right, so I have to undo it and put it... No, there we go, I got it. Right, so you don't have to do that. Just go to the beginning of the line, click all the way down to the end, whoops. Click all the way down to the end, hit end, and boom! There you go. So all you have to do is, if you have the multi-line select, which you can hold Alt and choose the lines you want. So if you're holding Alt and click, it will do multi-lines like this. But if you hold Alt and Shift, it'll let you select that whole grouping, and then once you have it selected, just hit end, and it'll go to the end of the line, and you've got the end of the line. So if you are building these lines all at once like this, that is a fantastic trick to do. Does VS Code support selecting beyond the end of the line yet? You mean like how you can sometimes click over here in other ones? Not as far as I know, Fuel Snable. I don't think it has added that in, but I do like the fact that it will grab at different positions on the line between multiple lines. And Vishal, no problem. Hopefully you like you find some value in that. It's nice. All the tricks that that these programs can do are fantastic. It is great that all of our tooling has come along so far. Okay, so that does our diamond. Now I'm gonna mess up basic math because I don't remember how to do it. But we'll see. So this dot make other pattern. Okay, so I'm going to steal one of these. That's what I'm going to create, is one of these things. But I need to... So particle color is fine, and the position to start is fine. I need to adjust the velocity. So I'm going to say... new velocity is that, which we're going to say const new velocity equals that. So there we go. So that's creating the new velocity, which is not really creating the new velocity because we have to figure that out to figure out where we want this particle to go. Don't know if this was discussed or not. I saw on some channel where Twitch emotes were fireworking like you got developed. I have not seen that, Roland, but I am planning on doing it with Twitch emotes. I mentioned that. I have seen in chats where it makes the emote appear and like bounce around or fly in some weird pattern somewhere on the screen. It might be like the old hype command that we did forever ago, but with like not as many and based on people typing into chat. But yeah, we could absolutely do the same type of thing here, Roland. And what I was intending to do for the firework is make it so that if you put an emote on the line with your firework command, that we would take that emote and use and have that be what gets launched around everywhere instead. VS full version column selection, I think, is superior because of the possibility to select beyond the end of the line. Yes, Fuel Snable, I agree. I like that feature as well. One of the things that I actually really like about it is the fact that they each have things the other one doesn't have. So most of the time when I'm writing code, I'm running both Visual Studio and VS Code both, and I switch to the one that makes more sense for the thing that I'm trying to do at the time. Because of the fact that I can just point them both at the same code base at the same time and not worry about it. So that is one of the things that I do. And additionally, I really like the regular expression support in Notepad++. I like the way that they do that. So funny enough, I will like open up a file in Notepad++ if I need to do something with regular expressions, because I'm a big fan of the way that they handle it. PETA will be after you if you start shooting Chatosaurus into orbit using explosives. That is probably true, Simon. That is probably true. VS full version doesn't run on your work computer. Fuel Snable, is your work computer just really old and lame, or is it, like, weird in some way? I don't get how it wouldn't work. Yes, exactly. Yes. You have the idea, Roland. It's take whatever emotes you put on that line and make that be your fireworks. So that would make fireworks out of those emotes, and you'd see those two flying up, and then it would be quite fun. I expect. Okay. All right. Basic math. Okay. Let's think about this. I need to figure out what the X and Y velocity are for one of these what's chat say? It's non-Windows work computer. Yeah, see, that's the other one. It's possible. It's just not Windows. Celeron, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, exactly, Nike Supra. You found VS 2019 uses less resources than VS Code once you add enough extensions to make it usable. Yes, so a lot of people are just running Rider, which I think actually is a really nice solution for a lot of people. That's one of the things that I like, is that there are good options for editors these days, regardless of regardless of what language you're in. There are a lot of good editors out there. Okay, so so angle's easy. Matt PI, thank you. Math random, so that should get me, there's 2 pi radians, right? So math random, that should get me an angle. Maybe I'm off by 1, I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm not flooring this or anything, so that should get us our angle. once we have our angle, so this is where on the circle we think it should be going, essentially, is right here. Now, how do I convert that to a velocity, is what I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I need some kind of speed, but I'm less worried about that. Will you have enough code to make... No, I will not. Just trying to think of what the math would be. Trying to remember back to, like, I think I can somehow take a sine and a cosine, but I don't remember exactly how to do it. I'd have to... Yes, thank you. See? Snable reversed that for... got... reversed, I mean? Oh, yes. Google Math is generally a good plan. Now the question is, how much is this going to move it if we do this? If we say that x is the cosine of math.cos, it's got to be right. Yes. And that y is the... Okay, something I kind of want to do, because I think it's actually going to make this easier, I am going to jump back into our old fireworks project, because the fireworks project runs easier than our bot, and this is why we were originally running it. So let's do that. No, screw that. So let's go ahead and grab this, and we're gonna go to localhost 5000 fireworks. Hang on. Okay. So this does our general fireworking, which is cool. When in doubt, use tan-H. Thanks, Fuel Snable. How much explosives do we need? Plenty. Yes, precisely. Okay, so... so going in here, this one did add firework, make a diamond pattern. So we do not want to make this as a diamond pattern. We want to steal our other code that we called make other pattern. And so instead of make diamond pattern, we're going to call make other pattern. And instead of calling it, actually, let's do this. Instead of calling this and doing that, we're going to say this is not quite the right way to do it. We're going to say 100. And then let's just move all this code in here. So we're going to grab a new angle, grab a new velocity, and push that onto that using the correct color. Okay, in theory, Okay. 100 is too many, but that makes the ring. So not bad. So that absolutely makes rings. So thank you for telling me whether it was sine or cosine, as because I was coming. I'm like I'm trying to remember high school math. I'm like, it's the sine of the cosine, but I don't remember which one. Oh, hey, yeah, thank you. That's why Twitch chat's so nice. All it takes is one of us to either remember or to look up which one would get us which one. So let's not do that. Let's make it like, I don't know, 32. Okay, so looking at that, it feels like that works, but I might want to have, so like they're there, but I kind of want to vary their, I kind of want a better distribution instead of just doing random angles. And then at the same time, like I want to choose a random angle and then just add, 360 divided by, whatever angle we chose kind of thing, right? Till we get to the whole thing, if that makes sense. Like I was thinking 360 degrees around the whole circle concept. Yes, exactly, Simon. Google can be our friend. So if we use this to get our starting angle, so we make a random choice to get us our starting angle, right? Sure. So if we do this, they also put them all on the same angle. So that is not what we... So this does not quite get us what we want. What we need to do is be adjusting this angle as we go. So that'll be a let, not a const. And then vary velocity, dang autocorrect. What? If you... Wait, hang on. If you took the circle varying velocity and only pick a subset of X items per subarc, you get a starburst. Took the circle, varying the velocity, only picked a subset of X items per subarc, you get a starburst. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remember what I want to do with this. Okay, so angle equal plus equals some amount. I'm gonna say 0 for now. Let's say equals angle plus 0. So add some quantity to that. Which would be like... something like that. Would that do it? Did I just totally butcher that? There we go. They're randomly distributed but even. Okay, I did not mess up my math. Good. So this makes evenly distributed rings. Okay, so that's a single. That's a one ring. Okay, so this is. So we'll call this make single ring pattern, because that's what that is. All right, let's toss this into here. Actually, let's just do this. So that makes a single ring pattern. I think regardless of whether we do multi-rings or anything else like that, I think this one is cool to just have a single ring thing. And the plan is to have it choose which one of these it wants to make as we go. So we'll choose some of these, and it'll randomly decide what type of stuff you get. Okay, what were the other suggestions in here? You could do a change to the speed the particle travels depending on the angle. Could be cool, create star-shaped patterns, or the ones where the main bomb exploded into 5 bomblets in a starburst, and those then starburst. We could maybe do that, Simon. We could maybe do that. At a random amount of particles within a range at... Oh, so you're saying have them effectively be just appear around it within a ring. So like take a circle, find random spots inside, and then just have them start falling from those. Rather than having them move from the center out to those spots and move. Yeah, so exactly, Simon. The challenge with having that is the fact that we would need to add, we would need to put fireworks inside of the particles collection, which we could do. I think we could get away with that because JavaScript, as long as the update and render are the same. They are. That would be the idea, Simon. The trick is if you made a firework that was essentially like a nested firework, you do not want to put a nested firework inside a nested firework. Instead of spawning a fixed amount, yes, I like that idea. So let me undo my math. So this is that was times 2 divided by 16, and then you can extract 16 out as a variable and say let particle count equal random. Welcome, Kuro. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce that. If I butchered it, I apologize about that. But welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Whoops. Times... Let's say that we... I guess we could go with, like... I don't know. We'll random between, like, 6 of them. Okay, so we'll floor that. And add 14. So we'll be going from 14 to 20. That'll get us our particle count. I guess we'd be going from Sorry, we're going from 14 to 19 if we do it this way, right? Yes, from 14 to 19. So that'd be from 15 to 20. This is the dev root one, so let's take this, copy it over here into our other project, and give it a try on here. Nope. Oh, I didn't call it, I bet. Yep, I didn't call it. Derp. There we go. Varying number of semicolon line 25. You are right. I am missing a semicolon in line 25. And on line 28. Visual Studio will yell at me about that, but this one won't. Yes, Crimson Green. How's it going? You need tips on being a dad? Tell bad jokes and read fun stories? That's that's some good advice on dadding. Yep. I tell bad jokes that my kid laughs at, and I read stories. My kid likes books a lot, so I read books. I also build garages with magnet tiles. We put these little magnet structures together so that he can drive his cars in and then, like, you know, open and close the garage door. It's a lot of fun. There we go. Fireworks. Okay, so if I want to make I want to choose from a set of these. So that's for this firework. I need to pick one. So let's do math.random. Before I do that, let's make, I guess, patterns equals an array with this dot make diamond pattern and this dot make single ring pattern in it. And we'll say math.random times patterns.length math.floor that patterns this. So if I didn't butcher that, then that's the horrible thing that will randomly choose and run one of those methods. Let's find out. They're all rings. Why are they all rings? I must have mathed it wrong. I must have messed up my random. What did I do? Make diamond patterns the first one. Math.random can be 0. I floored the result of this. Length was 2. So if it's between 0 and 1, if it's from 0 up to just before 1, that's going to be 0. If it's from 1 to just before 2, that's 1. Why didn't it make the diamond pattern? Did I updated the wrong file. That deserved a derp. Trash. Alright, let's figure out what happened. Push of undefined. Firework JS 14. Did I unmake particles somewhere? Cannot read property push of undefined. This dot particles. Where did I break that? Oh, maybe if I'm calling it from inside that oh, this! Can I do that? Am I gonna hate myself for that? Am I about to hate myself? We'll see. Did that work? Nope. Huh. I know, JavaScript. Yeah. Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop the debugger in there. Let's find out. This is why JavaScript rocks! Yes, I know, right? Okay, so that has an explode height and everything, so that's the this I expect. Whoops. That was silly. I hit the wrong button. Okay, over that one. That should be an array that contains a function in each one of those. Math floor that. Let's step into this. Okay, so I selected this one. Okay, that is the correct thing right now. Oh, that particle color doesn't exist. Oh, right. I had to switch all of them to that's. Yep, that is true. I needed to do that. Which one am I in? This is the www root one. This is the, wait. Bin www root. This is the one I want. Okay, so let's remove the debugger. So if I was going to do that, I literally have to change all of the thises in this whole section. So find this, replace with that. I don't know where the get the section thing was, but there we go. That should do it. Refresh this. Still always choosing the ring? Oh, there we go. Just random. So some rings, some diamonds. There we go. Okay, so now the fireworks come up and you don't have control over what type they are. Bet the real life one... yeah, you know, I bet real world fireworks, the ones that you launch out in you know, that real world, wherever it is, I bet those are not written with JavaScript. I bet they're, like, made out of, like, physical stuff with, like, gunpowder in them or something. It's weird. All right. So now I'm going to take this, paste it here. Okay, so people had suggestions for other patterns that we should do for our fireworks. Let's go with, we'll call this other pattern again, till we come up with a better name. So we're going to do make other pattern. And I guess we'll comment out, whoops. Comment out those 2 lines for now. Did you sync up the 2 code bases again? Yeah, Renee, that's what I just did. I just synced up the code bases so that they share this same file. So what's our other pattern going to be? So we need to make new particles again. Which I guess I will start with this. I could make 2 rings, one going at half the speed of the other. You've been warming to JavaScript and CSS? Well, that's actually a good thing, Fuel Snable. There's benefit in liking both of them. We could tweak the velocities a little bit so they're not consistent also. I don't know. What do we... Yeah, Simon, I've still been thinking about doing it on here, but obviously haven't. You know, we could have some that have random colors that don't match a color palette. could definitely do that. If you do go MVVM with injection of the view model, not all the code script block mess, future, you won't regret it. I would intend... So, Simon, I did a decent amount of Silverlight back when it existed, so yes, that's the route that I would want to go with it. Vary by between 2 or 3 velocities for every other particle. How would you do that, Renee? Just like maybe mod 2 on the index, for example? So it's like every couple? Greetings. Welcome. Hello. So we could do that. What would you adjust, Renee? I'm just trying to figure out what you were thinking. So, like, maybe the even particles are slower? I think Vue.js and ASP.NET Core are actually good buddies for a couple of reasons. One of them is that Vue.js works surprisingly well for not being a single page. So you can do single page apps absolutely with Vue.js, but one of the things I like about it is lighter weight and easy to just use, and so it works very well for you're not doing a single page app. So that's one of the reasons why Vue.js actually does work well for that. That being said, if you're going to use a web API in ASP.NET Core, absolutely you can have any front end stuff, including Vue.js, work really well. So you can use ASP.NET Core as the API to access server-side information from a Vue.js site. In doing that, if your ASP.NET Core site is basically just going to be the API that Vue talked to, yes, exactly. As Simon mentioned, Vue.js ends up basically being the replacement for jQuery if you're going to take it that route. So what I was mentioning, though, is that you can also look at a couple of different... There are some interesting ways of doing web API stuff in ASP.NET Core. Specifically, take a look at our Dallas's API endpoints library. So take a look at that if you haven't yet. Sorry, Wheatlall. You only get 6 coins back. So that spin cost you 4 coins, I think, if I remember the default cost correctly. Okay, so... how would you adjust it? Would you say maybe, like... speed mod is index mod 2 equals 0 of 1 or 2, and then you could divide the velocity in half, so divided by speed mod, essentially. You could do something like that, maybe. Is make other pattern than what I'm currently doing? It is. Alright, let's have a look and see what that does. That might be what Renee was talking about. I don't know. I think it was Renee that suggested this. Yep, that makes 2 rings. At which point, I think you could double the number of pieces. So... you could go like this. Actually, you know what? Do this. I think this makes more sense, actually. Did that actually double? Oh, whoops, I changed on the wrong one. Meant to change that one. Derp. There you go. Still 50-50 on the endpoint notion. Is not convinced that there's still some utility of keep all code for all actions on a resource URI in one code file. There's some... So the utility of keeping all the code for all actions on a resource URI. So... Okay, sounds good, Renee. So, I figured out what you meant. No, Simon, I must not be thinking, I'm not totally understanding necessarily what you mean. So, the approach that I like is defining essentially what are the endpoints, kind of like you would with a controller. So, the way that I write an API most of the time in Web API, if I'm doing a standard one, is my controller practically has nothing in it except for the concept that it's on the web. And then I tend to try to have, like, any code that actually does something not really live in the controller. The controller then ends up just being, like, nothing. Because I kind of like not really... I like dodging all the web stuff when I can. Exactly. I like the controller just to just be what is defining essentially the URL pattern. And if I can instead define the endpoints that I want to use without even having the controller exist, then that's the approach that I usually like to make. So, so that's a fantastic question. Do I use MVC for web? Yes. Do I use Razor Pages on the web? Yes. Do I think both can solve basically the same problem? Yes. They serve different purposes. I generally prefer the structure of a controller a little bit better for API calls. That being said, Razor Pages is a perfectly fine way of encapsulating a set of data and making a page if you're not doing like a JavaScript single-page application and you are doing the standard server-side hit to serve up an HTML page approach. Razor Pages 100% can do that and do it well. But if I'm not going to serve a view, I usually have a controller action be what is going to return back the data. So I use a page if I'm returning a view usually, and if I'm not, it's usually a controller. So I usually like to have both the like MVC controller, which I'll call it that, even though like it's, you know, sort of like the merging of like the web API controller and the MVC controller. I use controller actions for API calls called by JavaScript, and I serve pages usually by Razor Pages. You have a customer resource. You have one controller to get, put, patch, etc., and also delegate code out of the controller using Mediator. Yep, that's what I do. The controller is responsible for interpreting the request and the response to and from the domain entities and adding an interpretation of appropriate response code and headers. Yeah, so the controller's responsibility is just translating essentially into the speech of web. So, like, that something is like, a return value of a 200 OK is the response, right? So returning OK with the data in there, for example, is that is something that should only be in the purview of a controller and not further in. To my understanding, the endpoints split it down further to one code file per HTTP action. So put and get are two CS files, unless I'm missing something. I'll need to check out Steve's implementation of his endpoints. So I know that I have talked about basically wiring up endpoints directly to handle this kind of thing, but I usually have it at the level of the controller. So I haven't tried our Dallas's yet. I only glanced at it. So if for example, the get is its own endpoint, I was thinking that the way that they worked was more like a mediator handler where I could define which endpoints that one handled. And so if one of them happened to handle more than one, that would be allowed. So it's one CS per resources URL. I'll need to look at it. I'll have to take a look at Steve's implementation to see how he set it up. Okay, let me take this and copy that over, because I don't remember if we copied it over yet. It's still called make other pattern. We'll call this double ring pattern. So we'll call that the double ring pattern. So if we remove the... What I'm wondering about, if we do this, right, so I'm doubling right here. If I take this and I cut these numbers in half, roughly, then that still remains the same, but this only produces even numbers, which I like. Only ever produces even numbers if I do that. No odd numbers. Okay, so, yep, they do map to mediator, I thought, so then the grouping is only defined in attributes, so a bit too loose to my preference. Anyway, sounds like we both need to dig into it more. Yeah, exactly. Yes, it is certainly an interesting concept. I like breaking away from the controller structure a little bit, because the controller structure still feels you're doing model view controller, and I'm building a web API, so it feels like something where we should try to break away from it a little bit. Now, that being said, the web API controller existed for a while, and that's sort of what our controllers have become now. They're sort of the combination of both of those, and I do feel like that we can get separated further there, but maybe not. Maybe I'm stretching for something that we can't actually get. Let's take a look at this. So I don't want to do make other anymore. I want to add double ring pattern to this set here. Make double ring pattern, and then remove that. Now when I go here, let's see what it does. So there's double rings, there's single rings, we've got diamonds. So double rings, single rings, diamonds, so it's making all kinds of different fireworks every time we do it. So yay! Exactly, Mobabo. Yep, that's what I mean, is they made it so that they're all controller now. A long time ago, when they first added web API controllers, they were actually in separate, it was separate namespace, different type thing, and it's like, oh, okay. Mediator's helpful there, and there's still a bit of automapper and HTTP response code. Yeah, so most of the time in my controllers, what I end up doing is translate. It is at that point that I translate to and from essentially the objects that I use for communication with the JavaScript, and then I turn that into model types that I can send in to mediator actions. So in my controllers, it's usually just I do that switch there. I translate from whatever I was doing in the web and send that off to mediator actions. And the idea then is I have another DI injectable. I'm not worried about what this thing is. I just say what I want to do. So if the thing I want to do is create a blah, I create a blah using whatever data was relevant to doing that. And I'm no longer, using whatever the web stuff was. Yes, exactly. Yep, that's the idea. Yep, lets me get away from web-specific stuff. You no longer have to deal with anything web-related that you needed to grab. You do at that point, or you have to use some other way of accessing information. Let's see. So that works nicely. What I was thinking about, because when I was looking at this, in this code, the double ring and the single ring are not different. So a double ring, a single ring, and a triple ring should be the same. To this part of the VOS, you mean the VOD, the VOD, the video part of the boss? Yeah, feel free to send people here to look at this stuff. You're questioning a more RPC style. The Blazor due to the sharing of types, which depends on the web API is private to the app or not. Yeah, I don't know, Simon. Does this work still? Nope, that doesn't work. Alright, I put a stream marker here, Renee. Maybe I'll highlight that section for you, or give you a link to whatever the time spot was. Yeah, so Blazor in general is still going to feel super early at this point. It's why when it was like super preview and people were like, are you going to do Blazor on the stream? And I was like, I might, but we're not going to put it in a project because Blazor is going to be changing. And it's one of those, that is a recipe for disaster, to essentially depend on something that unstable. And by unstable, I don't mean like, oh no, it's gonna break unstable. What I mean is the code you're running today will not work tomorrow when they release the changes. And that, from a developer standpoint, is what we want, because we really want to have a time period where they're able to say, no, that direction we took was wrong. We want to do it better. We saw that when we tried it and you tried it, and we're going to fix it and change it, and it's now this new path. We want that 100%. That is absolutely what we want as a developer. If we complain about that at this point, we will end up with a whole bunch of legacy crud that they couldn't get rid of. And by crud, I don't mean like capital. I mean like junk. And the challenge is that then that means that building any project that we want to have last and have any longevity to it is not a good idea to start on that technology, because we want it to be unstable. So that's part of the challenge there. You're not doing Blazor until .NET 5 when it gets hot reload. Yes, Mobavo. I think that is actually a very, very valid stance to take. Yep. Very much so. Absolutely can agree with that. Particle count never changes, does it? No, it doesn't. Okay, so let's make this a constant. Let's parameterize this. So this is going to be we're going to make this make a ring pattern. We're going to say ring count. I think I can get away with that. So ring count will be here, set to 2. Ooh, we have no way to define it, do we? I guess we'd have to put this in as essentially arrow functions in the other function to make that work. Which I guess we can do. We'll just have to remember to do that. Okay, so ring count. So the make ring pattern is going to take in a ring count, which we are going to use. I'm going to make this ugly. Ring count times 3. And ring count, whoops. Yeah, ring count times 8. Mod. Ooh, speed mod. One or I need to make 1, 2, or 3, or maybe 4. 1, 2, 3, or 4 out of this. If I were gonna get to 3. So mod the ring count if it's so I don't want it to be 0. I want it to be +1. Ring count +1. Unnecessary. Still like it. Or do I? No, I change the angle as I go. Okay. So make ring pattern is going to be special in here. So it's going to be make ring pattern 2. Right? And now just to test it, we're just going to say this dot make ring pattern 3. Let's go ahead and give this a try and see what it does. So they're not even, so I need to make it 4. So I need a nice mathy way of making the third one 4. Let's see. Though your personal UI is 90% of domain code complexity, so it has less impact on what you do with the UI. I agree with updated. Yeah, they have straightforward and well. Yeah. So I need to change this value. I want this to either be. So +1 is going to get me 1, 2, or 3, depending on which ring it's supposed to be. Schuster, yeah. So the fireworks actually works pretty nicely, and it actually works as a command in our program now also. So we can actually just trigger fireworks. See, fireworks. But we're doing more styles of fireworks. So that one's all the diamonds right now because I haven't refreshed it since. But we're working on the third firework animation. So we're trying to make multiple rings possibility. So we'll see what it does. I mean, I could always do this. Like, I could always switch the thing, but I don't want to do that. What is it? Is it squared? Is it the value squared? One squared, 2 squared, 3 squared would be too much. So number times 2. Adding alerts to your Twitch bot. Commands is next. Nice, Schuster. Yeah, I think I need to change the way that I was going to do this. So, essentially, make it multiple loops, one for each ring that I was going to do. So, we'll say ring is ring count. So for each ring, we'll start it at 1. We'll go less than or equal to the ring count. So instead of going up to the total particle count, it will be inside of here. It'll be particle count divided by ring count. And that's the number we'll do in each. That's essentially the number we'll do in each ring is, you know, a fraction of the total. When our speed mod is going to be non-existent. It's the ring. No, yes it is. It is it is, what is it? It's no, it's 2 to the yeah, okay. Hang on. Oh, someone put a link somewhere? There's 2 basic problems right now. I guess I could do this, multiply that by that, not worry about ring count in here, make that be 6, and then this go back to like 16 or something like that. Or I guess like 3 and 8, I guess, something. There's that. Our constant is going, so we do need our speed mod, which is going to be this. This is what I had just come up with, which is math.how of ring to the, no, it's 2 to the ring. So at 0, it's going to be 1. At 2, it's going to be 2. Yeah. I think that does it. But let me have a look by just doing this real fast. Make some of these just make 3 rings. Yeah, because I didn't go around the whole circle. Because I changed the way that did it. Because we're still dividing by the total number of particles, which is wrong. We need to divide by the total number of particles when we're adjusting the angle. So that's like particle per ring, which I guess does not need to be a thing now, does it? Because we're doing it inside a loop, I don't need to multiply that at all. There was no reason to even divide there. We'll just do that. I don't know what I was smoking there for a minute. Let's see if that does it. Yep, that seems to do it. Now, what's weird about it is that I didn't adjust the angle between, and I should, so that the rings don't match up. And we should have more, in the earlier rings, I think is the idea. So more particles in the earlier rings, fewer particles in the later rings, I think. So, first off, that means adjust the angle that we do for each ring so that the inner ring does not match the outer ring. And then the outer ring needs to have more particles in it. So we're going to say particle count is this. So we're going to say 2 times that. But then after each ring has completed, we will... How much do we want to cut out of this? This will be... That seems like too much. Well, that would not shrink it for the first one, would it? It would not shrink it at all. But it would for the second if we do it at the beginning. If we do it before we create the number of particles. Oh, I could also just divide it by 2 each time, but then I'm worried we're going to end up with way too few at the beginning. Let's see what it does. And welcome. Thank you for that follow. I'll go with GK. If there's a better way of saying your name, Gkiora? I'm not sure. Ooh, yeah, those don't even look like rings. Like, I like the way it does it, but yeah, those don't look like rings at all once they do that. That's neat. I actually do like the way that does that. The angle. So by changing the angle inside each time, it is a nice adjustment to it. If we do it on the outside, then when we fire off the fireworks, you'll see that they all look like consistent patterns each time. So that is interesting how that does that. I want to create Poker AI, but I don't know from where to start. That is actually... one of the first suggestions I would say, if you want to make any kind of AI for any sort of game, start off by making a simple version of the game that you can have it play. So you'll need to program a short little poker game and make it so that your AI could play either humans or other AI. You could take the route of either just trying to build your own AI for it, or you could take a machine learning approach where it's trying to determine which hands are, better or worse than others and how to bet and things like that. challenge is you're going to need a lot of data no matter what you do to try and get it to compete well at all. You don't know how to play poker. Well, you don't know the rules, or you don't know how to play it well. Because if you don't know, so you need to learn the rules in order to make the program that the AI is going to learn in. You don't need to play well yourself, so one way to make it train is to play against itself. And it can, like, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get good all that fast, but playing against itself is not the worst idea. So, yeah. Memes. Welcome, memes. You're trying to learn C++ for fun. What will be the best language to learn if I'm thinking to make this hobby a full-time job? That depends so over the years of streaming on Twitch, and even talking with a lot of other people outside of this, for a long time, people ask the question of what language should they learn to get a job. And the short answer is that depends on what you want to do. Hey, Breadcrumb, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. If you think that C++ is fun, then I would tell you just learn C++. If you really think that a lot of things about C++ specifically are fun, if you, it's not, there are plenty of jobs for C++ developers. If there are a bunch of things about C++ that seem tedious, but you still enjoy the programming aspect, without knowing the domain you're interested in, I would learn a higher level language of which you could choose from dozens and not have made a wrong choice. So like Python, C#, Java, Ruby, whatever you want to learn, these are all languages that can work at a higher level. JavaScript if you want. These are all languages that you don't have to deal with all the tedious stuff that C++ will have you deal with, but you work at a different level. The reason I ask what you're interested in is if, for example, you are in... if you're really interested in game development, for example... thanks, don't break the rule. If you're really interested in game development, then... yeah, sort of feels Snable. Then C++ is not a bad choice. There are a number of companies that use C++ for their development. So if you specifically want to do game development at one of the major studios, that's not a bad choice. If you want to work on casual games, then C# is not a bad choice, because that is the language that you would use, for example, with Unity. If you are interested in web development, I would steer you towards learning either C# or potentially JavaScript. I would say are two choices that I would specifically recommend, and that being that they're also not mutually exclusive, because if you're going to learn C#, you're going to want to learn JavaScript probably also as well. If you just want to build business apps, you can pick any high-level programming language. Pick your Python, your C#, your JavaScript, your Java, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just pick a language. There are companies hiring for people to use all of those languages for just building programs, for business purposes, for building websites. If you're really wanting to dig into mobile development, you can dive into the JavaScript rabbit hole, for example, and do the hybrid stuff. If you really want to go native on one or the other operating system, you could, for example, use Java and build an Android app, or you could learn Objective-C and or Swift and do iOS. There are just so many options for where you want to go, which is why when people ask us, what language? Well, what do you want to do? And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that has to be the only thing that you do. If you want to just be able to go and get a job, if you're just saying, I want to be able to make a career out of this, then my recommendation would be to find out what is popular in your area. Wherever you live in the world, welcome, Coffee Drinker, thanks for the follow. everywhere in the world there are different languages that are popular, different frameworks that are used heavily. So, for example, the area that I am in is actually, it's a weird balance. We have a decent number of like Microsoft MVPs and things like that and .NET user groups in the area, but we also have a strong like non-Microsoft like presence. In fact, it's mostly non-Microsoft stack in my area. If you go down, and there are a couple of other cities near me where Ruby is king, for example. And there are some places where Python or JavaScript are the de facto choice in that region. That usually has to do with like what the companies in that area have been doing, what the developer community in that area has been doing traditionally. And sometimes new stuff that shows up really influence that area, but it's usually certain groups switch to it. So find out what jobs are in your area if you really want to make sure that you get a career. But there are a handful of languages where you will be able to find a job no matter what, because there are just companies maintaining stuff in them. Java and C# are great choices for that. And as Renee mentions, you can take a look at the job postings to see what is needed in your area. So C# and Java are fantastic for just, I want a job, and just figure out which one is in your area. Those are two great choices. The good news is knowing an object-oriented language like C++ will transfer into a number of other languages. Yes. So if you learned C++ already, you'll have to figure out some of the nuanced difference, but Java and C# are very similar in that they're kind of built on top of the concepts that are in C++. So it should be familiar and not a difficult step to go to them, and syntax will even feel similar in a lot of ways as well. So that's not a difficult transition, and there are a lot of companies that are hiring Java and C# developers. And yes, as mentioned in the chat there, like JavaScript and Python are also great languages. If you're in a community, if you live somewhere where Python is really, really popular, and there are actually places where Python is the language that is chosen, that is what is there. You'll see that in the jobs for your area, and you'll probably want to learn Python then. All these languages are good. You can use them. I actually switched to C# from Python and C++. I was in that land, switched over to this one, and I enjoy all of them. I think they're great. I still work with Python frequently. No need to live. Remote job is 15% of our... yeah, so plenty of people also work, do remote jobs, but again, that just depends on you and what you want to do, and yes, that's so. As Fuel Snable's mentioning, when I commented a bunch of times about like it really depends on what you want to do. So yes, data science, BI, things like that. You're going to find a lot of Python stuff for that. No Origin, go away. So you will not find that for C#. Diversity of languages has never been greater with new web. Yes, exactly. Yes, Simon is correct. We have more language choice now as software developers than really probably ever before. And part of that is that even that the old languages that existed before haven't gone away. So if you want to be really niche in your hireability, but you can learn one of the languages that's like 60 plus years old, and you can be in fantastic shape. It's not important to do on Python. You can do anything in any language, even in Pascal. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yep. Yeah. So, when I'm hiring people, I look at a lot of different things. I don't often care what language you know necessarily, because there's variance in that, because you can understand memory management without knowing C or C++, for example, because someone also could know Objective-C, and you can know that information without actually knowing the language as well. If you have a good understanding of how C# is actually handling, for example, its reference and value types, and maybe you even done some work in unsafe code in C#, then you probably have a good understanding of what's going on underneath anyway. It really comes down to the individual. So learn what you want on that. So and yes, so as is mentioned in the chat there, in some organizations they'll break things out into microservices. Now sometimes that's done poorly and it's basically like distributed monolith. But if you really are having separate systems that do, collaborate together, and none of them are very large, it doesn't usually matter what they're built in. So in a lot of large companies, there will be systems built in different technologies where certain technologies focus on different things better. And sometimes it's just that team preference has certain stuff going in certain ways. So your company could be majority C++ developers, but for example, you don't build your websites in C++, so maybe it's C#, and ASP.NET Core is the back end of your web application for the front end of your company, and the software that your company builds and sells is built in C++. Totally possible. At which point they're going to have both in your organization, and that's not out of the ordinary. Sometimes what you'll do is mentioned earlier, someone mentioned that Python is really good if you're going to be working with data. So who mentioned that? FuelSnable. So FuelSnable, I think, mentioned that Python is used in data science a lot, and I agree, it is. So with some of my clients, for example, we have systems that are built in Python that are the ones that are actually going and doing all the work on that data, and then are basically providing that for C# applications to do things with it. So where the Python is what was actually used to just dig through the data, C# is actually then used for the other parts. And yes, Schuster, you're actually correct. Thanks to Blazor, you could now use C# for the front end. And you could do JavaScript for the back end using Node, for example. So languages are translating, are basically crossing that barrier. And I'm expecting other languages are going to cross the same barrier that C# is. So C# is using Blazor, but there are other options for compiling your language into what is called WebAssembly. So web browsers now support not just JavaScript, but also WebAssembly is kind of the idea. So the WebAssembly code is, think of it kind of like if you understand how C# and Java compile down to intermediate language and bytecode respectively, that's kind of like an assembly language that doesn't, it's built like one, but it doesn't run on the processor. It's what gets executed by the runtime. So it's like code at like the thought level of an assembly language, but with the intention that a runtime is going to execute it. And that's actually what lets .NET code and Java code run on different systems. So that's why your code could run, for example, you could compile it and then run it on Linux or Windows, for example, if it's C# code. So those are the types of things. We did that in the back of the day. Yes, Tim. We always have a lot of people in. Exactly, Simon. Yep. So the idea is that yes, that is absolutely true. So the concept is the WebAssembly is basically like bytecode for the web browser. It's like intermediate language for the web browser. And so we can then take C# and compile to that instead of compiling, instead of just writing JavaScript, for example. And it's really messy to transpile C# into JavaScript, for example. Like it's much nicer to just go straight down into WebAssembly than to go to JavaScript, where there's some. It's not as simplified. Let's put it that way. Very-ish, lot more going. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Simon. Yeah, that's take all of these comments we're saying about all of this stuff with grains of salt. There's a lot going on in these. It's not simple stuff. So that's busted. My button doesn't work. Well, that's a bummer. Okay, well, anyway, this is the actual project? Yes. Firework.js. Firework.js. Make ring pattern. Okay, so we have patterns. Make ring pattern double is what that one is. Make ring pattern. I apologize for interrupting the conversation to write some code here for a second. Just funny to say. Yeah, sorry for interrupting the discussion to write code, everyone. Jeez, what terrible thing to do. Do I still have one of these running? I do. Let me just try this real fast. Hang on, we're building fireworks. What is DevIQ? DevIQ is a learning company. It's an education company that some of us have some videos on, including Mark Miller, who has a fantastic course on DevIQ called The Science of Great UI, which if you haven't checked out, I would highly recommend that to everyone. It is a great course that talks about good UI. That said, I don't necessarily always make great UIs, but I do recommend that everyone check out the course because it is much better than anything I could ever tell you about it. Let's see if that works. What's that gonna do? Oh yeah, look at that. All different types of fireworks. Yeah, buddy. Hey, ADC, welcome. And by the way, I answered your question, but I didn't say welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream, C-Films. Yes, exactly. Programming Warlock. Is DevIQ like? Yes, C-Films. It would be like those. It is a course learning website. Oh, nice. I'm really glad you like those, ADC. We did some awesome stuff on there, so I'm glad you like it. I noticed that I didn't clear out the last firework. There's a dead firework up there. Why is there a dead firework? I also have a nice pattern for fireworks. Can I share a link? Oh, Wheatlaw, yeah. If you've got a pattern for fireworks that you want me to shove in here, absolutely send it over, and I will take a look at it. Yeah, I would gladly take a look in an incognito window. Off the stream, I should specify. Yeah, we got to clear out something. Oh, that is nice. I like it. Yeah. We could absolutely do that if you want, Wheatlaw. That's you're basically just running gravity there, which is cool. I messed up the clear at the end of this. I noticed because my firework is sticking around. So the last bit of firework is staying there, which is a problem. In the overlay.js, I ended this when I said we were out of them. So I think if we're gonna do that inside of the fireworks render, keep going. Const keep going equals that if we're not going to keep going, then context dot clear rect. You know what? Copy pasta. Why am I typing that again? Okay. That should fix it, I think. And then make it so that that ring disappears. Okay. Should the fireworks blink out? Oh, they could, Fuel Snable. That's actually a neat idea. What is the firework spelled? We could make them spell words and things like that. C films. Gravity, but also particle emitters. Is that an O letter? The dead firework, yes, that is a that just made a ring. Instead of a circle of dots, a circle of particle emitters. It's a circle of exploded fireworks parts, but it's apparently decided not to disappear. Yes, exactly. Yep. Yes, the fireworks blinking out is a really nice idea. Like, you know, how fireworks tend to go out in a lot of cases, which is a cool concept. All right. Let's have this go again. Not that one. Okay. Is it about this point that I want to mention a couple of things? Because that's what I do. I want to make sure that I comment about a handful of things. First off, why did that button not work? I have apparently my Stream Deck isn't attached. So I will link to the Discord and the YouTube. So I want to mention a couple of things. First off, DevChatter is more than just our live stream. Of course, we are anchored by our live stream being here. I am obviously the host of the stream, but we actually have a very awesome community that if you are not really chatting with us yet, I recommend you join our Discord, which is linked over in the chat as well as down below. And also, if you enjoyed our stream at all, make sure that you click the follow button to make sure you get notified when we go live. All of our videos going back for 2.5 years are all recorded and are up on our YouTube channel, so you can actually see full archives of all of our videos that we have done in this channel. The YouTube recordings are a couple of days delayed because Twitch likes to have exclusivity on those, but again, if you click on my icon here on Twitch somewhere, maybe it's over here, I don't remember exactly where it is, you can actually get to the page where the videos are, so you could see the videos. There's both an archive here, but this is only but Twitch only has the archive of the recent ones. YouTube has going back all through history. And then also over on YouTube, you'll find our DevChatter Basics series, which is videos that are scripted, edited content talking about a foundational concept that is important to understand. Right now, we're specifically focusing on stuff in C#. So if you work in C# or a similar language, it would be useful to watch those either as learning about it or reminders about the material. So again, links over there as well as down below to those things. What else do I need to mention? Our next episode of DevChatter is going to be on Thursday. We will likely not be working on the fireworks, but there's a chance if someone came up with a whole bunch of cool things to do with the animations, but I doubt that we'll be on that. Our streams here are usually in C# or JavaScript, so do expect that to be consistent. That being said, we sometimes do Python and other languages as well, so we're not exclusive, but most of the content is C# and JavaScript. If you are interested in catching those, Notifications usually, you can get the notifications by following on Twitch, or if you're in our Discord, I'll usually mention, like, hey, yeah, I'm planning on streaming later today in the Discord, and so you'd know then, if you're in there, that was going to happen. Our streaming schedule has come back. We're now going to be doing Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. It's usually the middle of my day is when they happen. You can check for a schedule down below the stream to be able to find that out, of when exactly those are. And that information, again, I think you like click on the icon, like the DevChatter icon logo or something under the stream video to find out about that. Yes, C-Films, we do work with databases. We have done projects both where we use EF Core to talk to SQL Server databases, and then we have also worked with Dapper in one of our other projects, which Dapper is a micro ORM. But yes, we absolutely use databases as the back end of our stuff. This chatbot that we're actually building right here has a database backend to it as well. That's where it stores a lot of information, including like the number of coins and tokens and things that people have, and other information about our games and such. But you can find all that in again, by watching the archives of the videos, and we'll of course be doing more of that as we add more stuff. Okay. Lastly, I want to click this button, and I want to make sure that I thank our moderators, so don't go anywhere because we're going to be probably doing something else. I want to make sure I thank Crimson Green for hanging out and helping us. I want to thank these wonderful people who followed us today. So thank you for clicking that follow button if you are one of the people that did that. MySQL and PHP, I mean, the concept of the database and the SQL is pretty much the same, and ORMs work similarly, but it is going to vary based on the, our ORMs are not going to work exactly the same way as those ones, and there's like escape character differences and some things like that. But for the most part, the concept of what you store in the database remains the same. So, not terribly different. Hopefully you all enjoyed the stuff we were working on today. I know I did. And I will see you all on Thursday. So, until then, take care. Happy coding. Enjoy this, well, at least where I am, warm weather, and take care of yourself. Happy coding, everyone. Bye.